evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have TG Watkins here to share some powerful insights into his new options charting strategy. He'll be talking about targeting triple-digit zero DTE trades, leveraging gains, and his unique approach to charting. TG will also discuss when to day trade versus holding for bigger moves, why his two favorite patterns work across any time frame, and how to make quick, confident trading decisions. We're excited to have you here, so let's get started. TG, take it away.
All right, hey everybody, TG here. Make sure we got everything up and running. We should have some video. I'll turn this off after a little bit so we can focus on the presentation. But good to see everybody here. It looks like we've got a full bunch of people in the chat, and it looks like everything else is working for us. Good to see all of you guys. Yeah, definitely a lot of people, some familiar names too. Good, great to see everybody. And this is going to be the second presentation that I've done on this topic, and we've added some new stuff. So don't worry, even if you're watching again, we got new stuff. The market has been doing all sorts of crazy things. So I'm going to talk about that too. Since, we don't just trade inside of a vacuum, we do need to talk about what's going on with the market. I'll have some of that going. But I kind of want to take a show of hands, show me in the chat room if anybody's new to options, because I will explain some stuff later about that too. And then with that, who's been a little intimidated by these options too? Because I know I have. I'm kind of known as the stock guy, and I was like, I'm just never really going to get into options. They're not really working for me. I don't really want to do that. And so I just kind of like, no thanks. But things have really changed for me. That's why I'm making this presentation. Yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback on that one. Sonny, good to see you, man. Yeah, so I really feel your pain. I can really resonate with you. I work here at Simpler, and I have held off on doing options this whole time, but it's the 0-day options that are really, really amazing, actually. And they keep just knocking my socks off, really. Today there was a huge trade also, big move, over 1,000% move in the market. And it's astonishing me. So this is the reason why I'm getting into this and wanting to show you guys. But yeah, I'm trying to keep it simple. Deepak, good to see you, man. Yeah, we got a lot of great people in here too. So all right, so let me dive into this. We'll turn the camera off. Let me open my door so I get some airflow in here. And then we'll see if any FedEx people arrive and make my dog bark. All right, so as we get into this, I also, since this is the second presentation, I did update some of this. You'll see that it's now 47 trades and $60,000 that I'm up to. So pretty nice. And this is all using the zero DTE stuff. All right, just a little disclosure here. Basically, it says we're going to be playing nice. We're not going to sue me or the company, and that this is for educational purposes only. So if we can all abide by that, it would be awesome. All right, guys. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get started. All right. This was the other thing. This is updated from the last time because just a few days ago, August 1st, made over $12,000. So turned 2,000 into over 12,000 in 50 minutes. And that's 50 minutes. And what you'll see is this is not the stock chart. This is the options chart. And you can see there's the Moxie price trigger, which signaled that energy and momentum was starting to go up. Basically, the Moxie indicator doing its Moxie things. And I sold out the first half here for 525%, and then I exited the second half here for 695%. Not too bad, right? You might look at these numbers like, wow, that is absolutely incredible. I thought it was incredible. That's how I turned 2,000 into over 12. And I was like, yeah, this is fantastic. And you know what? Look at what happened to the rest of this trade. We had a perfect entry. I thought we had a great exit, and look at this thing. It went 2,400%. That's 2,400% that this option eventually went to. Again, blowing my mind, knocking my socks off. This is crazy stuff that I'm discovering out there. And this is why I want to be showing you guys, because I thought I did a great job and there was even more to be had. So really my goal is to start really figuring out how to get these things. Okay, wait, you guys are not seeing it? Oh man, this whole time. Let's see, screen. Why is this not coming up? Did it stop? All right, let me try one more thing. Switch screens. Why was that not working? Is that working now? That should. Okay. All right, well, I don't think we missed too much. Let me back up a little bit. Yeah, okay, great. We just started. Didn't miss anything. There's always something, isn't there? Okay, so I'll just show you again. This is where we got in, took 2 exits right there. These were the gains. And this was August 1st that we took it. And you can see here that it went up to 2,400%. And this is the options chart, all right? So this is pretty crazy. And what I need to do, because we had a perfect entry, what my job is to do is to be able to learn how to hang on to these things better and ride them for way more than 695%. Okay. Like today, there was even 1,000% trade. Okay. And this was today. So JML today did a great job. I don't know what we can do about compliance. So, we can't confirm this, but they were saying that they put on trade and they were able to cash in over 1,000% on that trade. Now, whether they made that kind of money or not, or that gain, the S&P and the option did move that much. So I was there, I was watching it. There was in fact an over 1,000% move in the markets today. And so these things are happening all the time. And given what's happening in the market right now, this is pretty good because whether you guys are still in the market or actually all in cash, I mean, this kind of trading, being that it's day trading too, can really help offset your losses in your equity portfolio or any of that. Okay. So I think this is kind of what we're looking for, especially when we're, rushing to the sidelines and it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And I want to make sure that you guys don't miss out on these kind of things. So we have the right strategy for the right kind of market. And I tell you, it feels really good knowing that I have this up my sleeve just as the market is going into all this crazy turmoil. In fact, I'm just super excited because what else is going to be happening? The market is just going to be, all over the place. And that should provide ample opportunity for us to trade it to the upside and the downside because the market is just going to be moving all over the place. All right. So 60,000 gain in 47 days. Someone was asking me, like, what did I start with? It's not about what I started with because my strategy here is that each trade is $1,200. That is how much risk I am putting on each trade. And that's what this has come out to be. Okay. I even started with less because when I first started this, I was like starting out with like $100 or $200. And as I've kind of worked my way up, I'm at about $1,200 that I'm willing to play with. I did have that $2,000 trade because I could tell that was going to be a big day. So I stepped it up a little bit, but that's what I'm doing. That's how 60,000, 47 days. And as I said, I kind of want to start over again because now that I'm really into this and now we have better opportunities and I'm really honing in on how to do this, I kind of want to start over just so I can do these better stats and actually get this stuff. So here was another example just the other day. And you can see right here, that's where we got in. You can see the Moxie price trigger once again, helping us to get in even on these option trades. We hung through a little bit of a volatility and then decided to get out right here at plus 400 and plus 470%, which I think came out with 430 average, something like that. And that was really great. That one really was an excellent trade on that one. And then just recently, this was our first bullish trade after the market melted down last week, actually this week. So Monday, and then we finally got a bounce. I don't know, what was this, Tuesday or something like that. And I was just waiting. Eventually the market was going to bounce. And sure enough, here we go. So this was the first major rebound and we got in right there. Okay. I've got all sorts of setups, but that was the entry. And you can see I got out the first exit here, 82%. Some of the traders, some of our subscribers said that they got out at 100%. So a nice double in just a few minutes in the morning. And then I kind of like, oop, I don't think this is going to go much further. So we got out right there. So plus 17. Nothing that's going to, don't going to be writing home about this one. But, this one's pretty nice, just little easy thing. The market did end up kind of crawling up that day. But amazingly, the big move wasn't on the upside today, on this day. It was actually the last hour of the day. There was a pullback. And I'll tell you, the 5280 strike went 1,600% if you got like the really aggressive entry, and the more conservative entry went 350%. So these things are happening all the time. And this is what's really crazy about this stuff. I mean, it is amazing, absolutely amazing. And yeah, I think this was this morning right here. So some more testimonials from the other Brent. I love the name. I'm amazed at how accurate the Moxie is, even if you chart an option ticker. Shows energy, shifts, and strength within the actual strike. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, because what I've done is I've taken the Moxie indicator and my principles, and I've now applied it to options and day trading those options, and in a different way than I think we've ever seen before for what I'm doing. All right. So what we're going to be covering today in this presentation is how I target these triple digit zero DTE trades, and why market outlook and direction does not matter, which again is a perfect situation for what we're dealing with in this current market, right? I think we all know what's happening in this crazy market. So I'm going to show you guys more about that and what I think is happening. My counterintuitive options charting strategy, that's kind of what we've been talking about. Like, those aren't stock charts, those are option charts. And then when to day trade and when to hold on for bigger, swing gains. And the answer is day trading right now. Okay, for sure, day trading, definitely. All right. All right, so a little bit about me. My name is TG Watkins. I'm director of stocks. I wonder if we're going to actually have to change that now that I'm getting. Maybe I'll be like director of stocks and zero DTE. I don't know. We'll have to think about that one. But probably a lot of you, if you've seen me around, you guys know these slides, a little bit about me. I've really been in your shoes before. Okay, my dad started taking me around to seminars that looked exactly like this when I was 12. Okay, so I've been kind of around this stuff my whole life. And I didn't know the first thing about whatever people were talking about, like Fibonacci. And I was like, what is this? And the whole point of when we were finally done with these presentations, I asked one of the presenters kind of off to the corner, I was like, can you really make money doing this? Like, all these squiggles on the charts and lines and whatever, like, people really make money with this? And they said, yeah. And I said, well, how? And they said, well, first of all, none of us are born knowing how to trade. And so that really stuck with me because it's super important. What it meant was that it was learnable. Nobody started out knowing how to do this stuff. Everybody had to learn it, and people become successful from it. And if you can learn it, then that means you can also teach it. And that's where I came. So I first learned it, and then I went full circle, and I'm teaching it. And now I'm up here on stage at the Vegas Money Show with John Carter and the rest of our team. And now I'm leading the show on these things. And now I'm here trying to tell you guys all the things that I've learned in my lifetime trading, and actually this new thing with the zero DT stuff and the success I've been having and trying to bring this full circle. So I was once a student for sure. And now I'm up here and just love where I am. And I want to make sure that I just give it back, because this stuff is fun and we're having a good time with it. All right, and then a little bit more about me. Some of you, most of you, probably know that I'm a pilot. My dad is a pilot. In fact, both my grandparents are pilots, so it's just kind of been a thing that's in our family. And pilots fly with checklists. They're very important, and that's what we do. I bring a checklist into my trading and into my trading style, and that is something I also bring into this new zero DTE stuff. Okay, so I'm working on the class. The class is Saturday. I'm building the spreadsheets for all this to make sure that you guys have a step-by-step guide of what we're looking for on how we trade these things. Okay, pretty straightforward, nothing super complicated. That's the whole point. Keep it simple, right? So you can see I'm over here working over their mechanic, pulling the engine out of the glass air. It's a few years ago. And then up here in Washington, nice sunsets flying around. And for the rest of you, if you guys haven't seen me in a while, I figured I'd show you some updated pictures. This is in the inside of the other airplane. And again, beautiful Washington, like Pacific Northwest stuff, great weather. The sunny skies this summer. This is actually just a few weeks ago. My buddy was in town, so we took him flying. He actually flies 747s for cargo. And then we got my dad in the back as well. So pretty cool times. And then, we also, 2020 was an amazing year. So from the success of that, and you guys also, when you have success in the market, like, do something with it. Take your kids to college, buy a new thing, pay off some bills, debts, whatever. We decided to retire our 1999 Bayliner boat, and we bought a Mastercraft wake surf boat. So that we use this thing all the time now. We're wake surfing all the time. And the other thing about trading that I think maybe some of you will resonate with too is, we talk about the freedom and be able to be your own boss and all that stuff. What does that really mean? Well, for me, what that means is that I can move around anywhere I need to. This is my travel setup. I got my laptop, I got my 2 screens, I got the drawing pad that I'm using right now that you guys can see. And I even have the mouse pad of our airplane flying around. So that's pretty cool. And I can take this. And this picture was at my wife's family's cabin, kind of in the southern Pacific Northwest. And I walk out in the mornings, wake up at 5:45, get ready for the market. I wake up to this, the sun is just coming up over this kind of water. I'm like, man, this is pretty nice. I like that I can take my laptop and go work someplace and have this kind of view. And then when I'm done at 1 o'clock our time, I get to go outside. The weather's perfect. We get to go boating and enjoy the weather. Okay. So this is reality. This is really what we can do as traders. You can travel with this stuff, and I'm living proof of it. So I love it. All right. So we kind of get back into this. So yeah, the stock guy got into options, right? Now I'm still doing swing trading, when appropriate, which is not really right now since the market's melting down, but I'm getting into options, and I'll tell you why. And it's not just the regular options that have been around for decades. Like we know those and all that kind of stuff. I've never really had great success about that. I'll kind of show you some of the reasons why that's never really worked for me and really resonated. But this new stuff really is like singing my tune. It's seriously working for me. So the new turbocharged kind of zero DTE stuff, okay? And part of the reason why I got into this and started looking into this is, after all the excitement with 2020, the market feels like it's just kind of changed. I mean, first off, we went through a bear market. If you're a swing trader, that was kind of tough. It went from kind of feast to famine. We had huge moves up, and then everything just gave it up. And then we had big swings, and then it just all went to zero. And what was extremely frustrating, even in this most recent bull market that we've had since the end of 2022, is that the market has been going up. And we would get moments of time. If you guys look here, this is the breadth indicator. This is the number of stocks over their 50-day SMA. And you can see that there are moments where a rising tide is lifting all boats, right? We get a lot of stocks over their 50-day SMA. But as time would go on, you see fewer and fewer and fewer stocks were staying over their 50-day SMA. That meant even though the market was moving up, fewer stocks were going up. And I was like, man. So instead of having a lot of stocks to pick from, they just kept dwindling. And so, this kind of comes back to the whole Mag 7 thing. It's like, unless you're in the handful of stocks that are working, everything else has these spurts and then failure, spurt and then failure. And you can see basically this last move up in the market was pretty much on the back of NVIDIA, SMCI, the Mag 7, things like that. It's like, oh man. So sure, you could buy those things and hang on to them. That sounds like a great investing tool, but not for the kind of trading that we want to be doing, like, having fun, trying to make some big money and all this kind of stuff. It just was very, very difficult to keep finding these stocks that were working. And the small caps, other than their little pop-up that they had, 2-3 weeks ago at this point, other than that, the small caps have been, again, feast or famine and mostly dead for several years. I hope they come back alive someday, but for the most part, they've just kind of been wallowing in despair since interest rates have been going up. So we'll have to see how that goes. And again, yeah, now everything is getting sold off, right? Even the Mag 7. So now where do you go? Unless you're shorting everything, you're basically pretty much in cash, or you're just like, oh my gosh, I hope this is over soon. But that's where we step in with this whole day trading thing. And now I'm a jack of two trades, and I can put my swing trading hat away because that's not going to be happening for a while. And now I can pick up the day trading stuff and be like, look, there's 1,000% move today. Fantastic. Let's go with it. All right. So this is kind of some of the updated stuff I want to talk about. What is going on with the market? Okay. We could list probably 5 different things that are happening as to why the market's doing what it's doing. I think you guys are probably pretty knowledgeable as to those reasons. Don't need to get into them there. But, I'll show you this from a technical and a chart standpoint. This is the IWM. This was that spurt that I was talking about. And we traded it. We actually got in right here because of the Moxie indicator, that Moxie price trigger right there. The indicator was over zero, it fired, and everything's set up beautifully. So we got in right here, and this thing shot up. We actually took off 3/4 of the position right there. And then I exited the rest of it right here once it started to break down. It looked like it was going to hang up there for a little bit, but nice little buy the rumor, sell the news as far as Jerome Powell with the FOMC. And now you can see there's the Moxie price trigger to the downside. So I was like, ooh, let's not ride this out because I don't know what this is going to do. And what you can see is if you look at the internals, this is order flow, and this is the advanced decline. Brutal. Like, look at that. Absolutely brutal. And you could see that it was going to be a very, very heavy day. So not only did I just go to all cash that day because everything was getting hit, and I was like, this is something major. We actually set up a short trade on the 0-day stuff, and that's where we got the big 525 and 695% winner was this day. Okay, so whatever I lost in my swing trades, I pretty much made up for it in that day trade. So again, nice little hedge for the day. And then you can see we got some really big moves over the next few days after that. Okay, so that's what we're seeing, lots and lots of selling. And you can see that the advanced decline just got brutalized. Okay, so it's really rough out there. And you can see that the IWM just went straight down also. Great time to be in cash, honestly. And then here's the other question everyone's going to be asking, like, okay, well, what can we expect? Like, when do we buy the dip? Is there going to be a bounce? When can we get back in? These are the two indicators that I look at to kind of tell me from a market-wide standpoint, should I be uber long, or should I get out, or when can I get back in? And I had to look back at this once the market started melting down, and it just clicked. I was like, oh, that's what it was. So if you look at the breadth, this is the number of stocks over their 50-day SMA, kind of like that thing I showed earlier. When it gets up around 80%, the market is pretty much topped out. It means pretty much everything is already up. 80% of the stocks are in an uptrend, and it doesn't like to go much higher than that. And you can see 1, 2, tapped it perfectly, and now we're down here. Okay, like that was beautiful. Now, as far as this one, the next question is like, well, how do we know when to get back in? Well, the other part is about 30%. So you can see 30%, and this is just a very small snippet, is about the area where there's enough, I don't know, selling or enough, despair and distraught out there that the market tends to rebound. But this can go much lower. We can get down to even 10%. So 10% of stocks above their 50-day SMA. So we're still somewhere around 50%. That tells me we've got a fair amount of distance to go before enough stocks are below their 50-day SMA in order to actually put in a bottom. Okay, so we've got some room to go. Fortunately or unfortunately, depends on how you look at this. Then the other thing is, here is the put call ratio, and this is the 10-day moving average of the put call ratio. And you'll notice last July, what happened? Well, the 10-day moving average of the put call ratio not only got 2.7, it got below 0.7. What did we see here? We also saw another extreme reading where this thing almost went like, 0.55? That is very, very extreme. And that exactly marked the top of the market. So then what are we looking here? Well, most likely we're going to have to see the moving average get up to 1 or even just above 1 before we really mark a bottom. Okay, so we're down here. This is a couple days old from when I took this. This tells me we've got some time and we've got some work and some distance to go. Of course, there will be bounces along the way. There will be wild moves that we can trade, and it'll be great even on a swing trading basis if you're quick about it. But from all of this being unwound and ready for the market to go back up, I think we've got some room to go for these indicators to reset. Okay? That's my read on the market. But in the meantime, we can do the day trading stuff. So I've really enjoyed being able to target these triple digit 0 DTE gains now, because I can be even more patient for my swing trades. Like, that's the whole thing. Normally without this, I'd be like, oh my God, okay, I just have to sit on my hands now for days and wait for the market to figure itself out. And then I have to be ready to pounce when we get a bounce. And then I have to get out again and just wait for the market to do its thing. So I had to be really patient and just let days go by. And it honestly was kind of boring. So now that I've been doing this day trading stuff, this is the perfect time. And I'm just super duper excited about it. And I know some people are probably asking, like, okay, well, if I'm going to be alerting these trades out or taking these trades, I have to work, or maybe I'm not around or something. Well, that's what we have the alerts for. That's, we send out an alert, we make a noise, it dings on your phone or your iPad or wherever you want. We send out the alert. And it doesn't happen right away. There's probably about a 15 to 20 minute window of opportunity, basically, to take the trade. So I know these are day trades and they're quick, but really, 15 to 20 minutes probably that these things will still be ready for you to hop in. And you should think about this as a way of developing a hedging strategy for those of you who are still going to be holding equities. I know people have long-term things. Here you go. Here's your hedge. I hedged on Thursday when the market started melting down. And then with this, I have a great analysis. And now that I'm trading these options, I can help you guys have these hedges too, because you guys can now see the analyses that I do as well. And I think this would be really valuable for existing members who also trade equities exclusively, that maybe you take a couple of these and you can kind of help hedge your portfolio, because it just doesn't take a whole lot of capital to have killer gains on this stuff because of the growth that these things have. And so this is that Thursday that I was talking about when the market started melting down. There was my, come on. This was my entry right there. Perfect. You guys see the Moxie price trigger? And even the 5-minute Moxie price trigger perfectly. And these are the alerts. You can see them over here. These are the alerts and the timelines that I sent them out and what I do. And what I do, I had to actually redo the math. It was 695%, not 665. So, and then you can see here 2,400% that this thing kept going. I mean, the market just kept going. So yeah, that's going to be my job is basically I like to get in, I take half off, and I just got to let the rest run. And that was another situation today. Today was over 1,000% that the market moved. And yeah, I got to be around for that. Fantastic stuff. Yeah, over $12,000 in just 50 minutes. Can you imagine? I don't know. What would the math be if I actually let this thing run to 2,400? Somebody wants to do that math while we're going here. That would be fun. All right. So I just want to know if you guys like get this. Does this make sense? Is this really super exciting to you? Because I know I'm here trying to sell it and all that stuff, but I'm selling myself. This is so much fun that I'm actually like, I'm telling the team, I was like, guys, we got to get on this. I want to tell as many people as possible. And I've been making the classroom. And I keep telling people in the Moxie room, I was like, as I keep building this class, I keep solidifying my excitement and my conviction about this because they're all over the place. They just keep happening. These are not just once in a while things. That's kind of what I thought. I was like, oh yeah, sure. 1,000%, 1,500%, like what, once in a blue moon or like once a month, like, and you're going to be lucky if you can catch it. No, guys, I'm telling you, these things happen all the time. Like in the last 5 days, there have been multiple hundreds of percent moves and a few 1,000% movers in just the last week. It's crazy. And so here was another one. This was from June 2nd. If you guys remember, there was that big move up on May 31st. Well, I knew this thing gapped up so far. I was like, this isn't even going to work. All I did is I played the fade back to support. Imagine that. It's just a fade trade back to support. And that was worth 600%. And you can see here, again, another perfect entry. This is down on the 2-minute. There's the Moxie price trigger. And I just went down to my target, which was the 15-minute 50. Perfect. I mean, fantastic. And these things happen all the time. So part of the reason why me as the stock guy really never got into options is because I was reluctant. I was like, I understand options. I understand how they work. But the application of them for swing trading just never worked. I mean, really, I work at Simpler Trading. So you would choose to be called Simpler Options. And it just never worked for me. Everyone around me trading option stuff, and it just never worked for me. And I think, let me know, let me see in the comments, like if some other people kind of resonate with this, because like how many people have tried options and it's just not really going well. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're getting a few people there too. So that's kind of my deal. Okay. But these 0 days and the way that I've figured out, I've taken my own way of figuring out how to trade these things. So it really, the options table really kind of looked like the matrix to me. I'm like, oh my God, what do you do with all these numbers? You got Delta, Vega, all the Greeks, not making sense to me. And so what got me into this was the fact that I had so many people, including subscribers, like mostly subscribers, asking me all the time, like, hey, can you take the Moxie indicator? Can you day trade it with it? Can you look at this thing? I'm looking to day trade the SPY. Like, can you look at this? And I always knew that the Moxie indicator worked as well for day trading as it did for swing trading. But once I kept looking into it, I kept saying like, yeah, this works. But I just don't know what vehicle, like, how do I make money doing this? I didn't want to, have to just do leveraged ETFs because you have to put all your capital in just to make a few percent. It just wasn't fun. So like I did with swing trading, I went off and I did it my own way. And so what I did was I was applying the Moxie indicator, not just to day trading, but also to the 0-day stuff and basically using the Moxie toolbox, right? And so how I trade options is a little bit different. And this is what I'm going to be diving into and starting to show you guys. So no Greeks, no fancy option configurations, no flies, no iron condors, no iron seagulls, no iron boxes, no any of those things. Okay, I don't need to do any calendars or put spreads or whatever. I keep it really simple. And I just use the charting and my tools. Okay, super duper simple. You can do the other things, but the way that I'm doing it is this way, and I'm staying in my lane and just sticking to that. And this is my point. This is the reason why I'm sticking to keeping it simple, because there's the Moxie price trigger, okay, telling us to get in. And then you can see basically it started to move up, and then you can see it held support, and it continued to move up, and I got out with 600% on that trade. All right, this is This is how I'm able to see the stuff. And this is the kind of thing that revolutionized my trading, my ability to trade options. And so this was another one today, because again, today was an awesome day in the Moxie room. We had a bunch of people chatting around. And so Richard Commons, I don't know if you're out there, but I do appreciate it. Moxie is probably the best overall indicator I have found, straight from their mouth. All right. So having a great time with it. And as I was going along and realizing and looking into this 0-day DTE stuff, because look, I didn't know any of this a while ago. I had to teach myself, just like I showed you. Nobody was born a trader. Nobody knows how to do this right away. I had to go teach myself. And as I was learning and teaching myself, I had 3 epiphanies. Number 1, I'm good at reading the market each day using the Moxie principles that I already teach. So basically, I'm good at day trading, right? I can read the charts. The second one, the NDX and the SPX can provide the moves necessary to have huge option gains. Therefore, I only have to trade those 2 indices and narrow my focus. I'll dive more into that in a minute. And number 3, I discovered a way to see the options in a way that spoke to me. Huge portion right there. It spoke to me using my trading skills that I already had. There are clear signs when an option is ready to go, and I could see it. That was the thing. Like, how do we make sure we see these things, and how do we make sure we don't miss them? That was the big key for me. So let's kind of look at these a little bit more. So reading the market using the Moxie principles. This was a few days ago. You can see my alerts. And this was basically when the market, let me change my color on that one. This was basically when the market started pulling back. And I give a play-by-play in my trading room to all the subscribers. Like, even if we're not taking a trade or something, I tell them what I'm looking at, what I'm seeing. And this is how I've been basically unconsciously honing my skills over the years as I have been narrating all the market moves to the subscribers. And so I said, hey, I think that, we're going to get over the 50 SMA. I think we're going to run into the 200, and I think we're going to pull back. That's another very common Moxie pattern. And so I called it out in the trading room, and I said, hey, yeah, I think this is where it's going to go. And sure enough, this was the top, and price started to pull back. So like, great. Now what can we do about that? If I know how to read charts, now I just have to wrap some trading around it, and then we make money. So why just the SPX and the NDX? And honestly, I've just been trading the SPX. And the reason here is that for me, trying to find individual stocks that were ready to move on that particular day was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. And again, let me know if you guys can resonate with this, because when I was starting to learn how to trade and I figured, I can do day trading. And the way that people were teaching how to day trade is like, you have to have 10 stocks on your screens because you need to trade things that have high liquidity. You need to trade Apple and Nvidia and Tesla and Amazon and whatever. And then you got to look at them. And then in the first 10 minutes, you have to figure out which one's going to move which direction and which one's going to move, but the other 5 might just be duds. I was like, that's too much. I can't figure out in 10 minutes which stocks are going to do what. It's overload. There's too much going on, and it didn't work for me. And I was like, I can't handle it. And so I'm like, how am I supposed to figure out which stock is going to move? And I didn't like it. And so I was like, okay, now that I've learned that the index, the one index, does all the movement that I need, and there's plenty of room to profit from it, and all I need to do is look at one index. I'm like, great, I love that idea. And how about the other thing? It wasn't economically practical to day trade the leveraged index or ETFs. Like, you can't really day trade Apple. You can only day trade Apple if you do options, but to day trade Apple with equity doesn't make sense. And so, okay, we have leverage ETFs. Well, okay, that's better, but you're still going to need $100,000 to put into the SPXL to make 3% and try to walk away with $3,000. You're like, okay, that doesn't really seem exciting either. And then regular monthly options never clicked with me, and just too much noise over too long of a time frame. It just didn't work for me, and it just didn't work. All right, so this is how I came to this conclusion. And so what you can see is that the SPX, this was back July 2nd, so running right into the 4th of July, and I told everybody that could possibly hear me that it was going to be bullish, that the 4th of July, the run up into 4th of July is bullish. Like, just think rah, rah, go America. And you can see here that the second, there's your Moxie price trigger. And then we had a nice pullback into support, another nice pullback into support right here. And then this thing took off. And this is, again, back when I was studying all this stuff and trying to get it figured out. And I'm like, holy cow. First of all, great move. Awesome move. And if you look at this, the 54.90 strike. So I don't know, wherever it is, the 54.90 strike went 960%. Heck yeah, I'll take that. That's amazing. And the even crazier thing is, if you basically just move one strike up, I know the SPX has 2 strikes, but if you're really just like 10 up into the next one, 5,500, the difference was double, double. I'm like, holy cow, you just get the right strike, and these things can more than double on the same move, and 1,800%. Guys, do the math. You take $1,000, because I'm willing to risk $1,000. I told you that I'm risking about $1,200 on each trade. You take $1,000, 1,800% is $18,000. That's absolutely incredible. That'll make my month. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. And these things don't just happen once; they happen all the time, all the time. All right, let's see. Let's look at this one. So I discovered a way to see options that was a game changer for me. That's really the key, is to see this. This is why, I'm really good at the charts, right? I told you I'm good at reading charts, and now I need to figure out how do I do this, because the options table didn't work for me. I don't understand any of that stuff. I don't get the Greeks, like whatever. It didn't make any sense to me. And so I just want to show you guys a couple more examples. This was another good one. We had a nice rebound on this. This was that 430% gain. Again, there's the Moxie price trigger right there, telling us to go long or to go short. The Moxie price triggers are doing very, very well. And you can see how I've been alerting this out. And, these are the real trades. These are coming out. People are taking these. We're having a good time in the room. And then you can see all this kind of stuff. So just another game changer to really be living these trades. Now, this one is fun. I lived through this. Also, kind of give me a show of hands. How many people? I think we were all probably in the market May 31st. Maybe you noticed that this was a big deal or not. If you didn't, that's okay, because I'm about to show you why this was a big deal. Number one, if you could just look at what happened to the market, you could look at that and be like, yeah, that really was a pretty big move. Like, wow, look at that thing. The other crazy thing is the opportunities that these day trades provided. And this was a case study that I'm doing for the class on Saturday to show people what is possible with this. First of all, there's the Moxie price trigger to the downside. There it is on the downside too. This is the 2-minute and the 5-minute. And then, so on the way down that morning, the 5220 put went over 500%. Great. Okay, you think you're done for the day, 500%, awesome, let's walk away. But what then happened was, we were watching this, and I figured that this was about the bottom of the market. And I was like, yeah, okay, it should stop going down and probably go up a little bit. I didn't know it was going to be going up this much. So what we did is we sold a put credit spread. I can't believe that I did that. I sold a put credit spread because I was like, it's been a rough day. Maybe it's not going to go anywhere. Going forward, I'm not going to be doing that. Going forward, I'm only going to be buying calls or puts, because I don't care if I lose it. I want to be able to participate in a day that goes 3,000%, because I got in right there. That was the most perfect entry, and all the rest of the traders in the Moxie group took it. And all we did was a measly put credit spread, which worked out perfectly and went 100%. But if we had just even bought a call for this thing, there were calls, some of them went 4,000%. Some went 5,000. Now I don't think we would reasonably be able to catch the 5,000, but we can catch 3,000. That would make your Friday. That would be great. Okay. And so I'm just like, forget the put credit spreads, forget anything like that. I'm just doing long calls or long puts, because first of all, 500% on the way down and 3,000% on the way up. That was an incredible day. And can you imagine if you were to participate in that? And the Moxie price triggers and the Moxie indicator was just all over it. Look at that right at the bottom. This is my point. This was that day. Here is May 31st, and this is a screenshot of the option table. It doesn't tell the story. You don't see 3,000 or 4,000% anywhere in here. It doesn't tell the story. You might look at this and be like, oh, cool, there was a nice 330% gain in there. This does not tell the story. Okay. Pretty wild for that day. And this is this just doesn't work. There's nothing for me to glean from this table. It makes no sense. Doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't nearly tell me that there was that kind of opportunity here. Now, I also get a lot of questions. I want to make sure people know that when we talk about 0 DTE, that's just an abbreviation. It stands for 0 days to expiration. We can call them dailies. You can call them daily expiries, whatever you want to call them. But I want to make sure people have been trying to type this in as a ticker. That's not the ticker. It's just a description of what these things are. And it just means that we are trading the options that expire that day, whatever that day is. And you'll see it because it has a 0 next to it because it's 0 days to expiration. So I want to make sure we get that out of the way. But yeah, this tells you nothing. Okay, that's part of the thing that I figured out that has really changed my trading and my ability to actually trade options. And so another reason why I'm getting into the day trading with this stuff, because again, I never used to be a day trader. I was never an options trader. So what's the deal? As a swing trader, and specifically an end of day swing trader, I really had to be patient and take the opportunities when we got them. And some of them are pretty good. You get a nice run like that. That feels great. But man, there are long periods of time where it then consolidates and there's no trade. And then there's really no trades because it's pulling back. And then you got to be quick about that one. And then it pulls back again. And then what they do, I hate it, but the big powers that be, they're the ones that are able to trade overnight. And there is no opportunity for us to take these trades when they gap them up in the after hours like that. And that is one of the most frustrating things that I can imagine when it comes to trading. You're like, I love this thing. I would love to get in, but look, they took out all the opportunity, 0 opportunity, because look at this one. It jumped up and the next opportunity was down. So that's not fun. And even though Carvana went 1,300%, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that William O'Neill would talk about in his stock trading book, 1,300% for Carvana, but it took 450 days. This is 450 days. We could make this much in an hour, a couple hours. I am living proof that we are seeing this kind of stuff happen in a matter of hours. So I rather do that than 450 days. And that's really kind of resonating with me. Speaking of that, I want to show you guys, because I kind of see on the chart in the comments here and the questions that you guys are doing. You're like, all right, well, how much is there and how often does this happen? And again, with the what's going on and is this really a thing? I want to show you this. I was really being very conservative with this. And again, one of our marketing guys, Craig, I love him. He's like, yeah, happy hunting grounds. When I showed him this, I was like, yes, that is actually it. That is exactly what here. We are Elmer Fudd, and there are a lot of rabbits out here that we can go after. And as I said, I'm being conservative. Of course, you won't be able to capture all these things. And of course, you'll have losing days. But I just want to show you the kind of movements that the market provides. And this is just the SPX, 1,000%, almost 500, over 500, basically 500, another almost 500, 2,000, 500, and then another 700. And the rest of them are like, chump change, right? There's a lot of this. And if you just add these up, and again, you could take any month, potentially 7,000%, right? There's 7,000% worth of moves, up or down. You won't catch it all. And sometimes you'll lose a little bit. No problem. That's a lot of opportunities. That is a lot of opportunities. Okay. I don't know about you, but I look at that, I'm like, man, if I could just catch a third of that. And then and this doesn't even include May 31st. That was 500 in the morning and 3,000 in the afternoon. So yeah, I'm looking around at this. I'm like, these things happen all the time. I just have to dip my toe in here and just get some of it. And it'll make my month. It'll make my week, which we've had some people saying that too. They're like, man, this is great. I'll show you some testimonials later. But here's another one. So July 30th. Yeah, big moves all the time. And this one, what I wanted to show was my last presentation was right before the FOMC. And the market was basically going sideways, not a whole lot going on. And I had some people being like, dude, how often can you catch these things? They don't happen all the time. And I wanted to show, this was the day before my presentation last time. There was there was an easy 800%, right? That was kind of called that the easy move, 800%. And then if you really want to get crazy, it did ultimately go to 1,400. Great. Maybe we can catch that. Maybe we can't. But if you got 800%, I think I'd be okay with that. And you know what? There's the setup right there. There's the Moxie price trigger. And again, on the chart, there's the Moxie price trigger. The Moxie indicator is doing it for us, guys. So whether you have the indicator, whether you're in the room, whether you have both, we're going to send out alerts, and the indicator's helping us trade this stuff too. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not doing anything new. I'm applying the Moxie indicator to options, and look how well it's working. I can't make this stuff up. It's literally right here. So yeah, just the day before my webinar, it just doesn't go any better than that. All right, so here are my stats. As of today, yeah, I updated this today, and this was, now keep in mind that this is based on me buying calls and puts and then selling credit spreads, because when I first started this, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can sell stuff too, because these things evaporate every day and I can make money based on them just going to zero. So I did start out with that and I did have some success, but then I kind of felt like that was a little bit of a trap. I kept getting distracted by trying to sell premium, and I would make 80-90% on selling premium, but then I would miss the 200, 300, 400, the 800% days. I'm like, what am I doing trying to capture 80% when I could be making 800%? And so I just told myself, like, I got to stop doing this. I got to stick to only buying the calls and puts. Okay, so even at that, 47 trades, $61,000. I've had 32 winning days, 16 losing days, which is a 66% win-loss ratio. And I think actually I need to redo the math, but basically it was like $1,600 per winning day. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good track record. I'd be happy with that. So then what I did is said, okay, if I'm going to be moving away from the selling of premium and only doing this stuff, then let me look at what my track record is with only buying puts and calls. And I looked at this and I came out and did the math, and my math so far, and this has been going up. If you guys saw my last week's presentation, you'll notice that this number is bigger because I'm getting better at this and I'm doing more of them. My average win is 210%. And this is why I'm saying I kind of need to scratch these stats and start over, because now I'm routinely getting bigger ones. Okay. So my old ones and my first ones are really bringing down my average. But what you'll see is my average loss is only 50%. Now, some of them will go to zero. You do really need to understand the risk of trading these kind of things, that some of them will go to zero. But we can also just say like, oh, it's not working. Cool. Get out 50%. No big deal. Because my winners on average are 210% or more. And so what that means is, when I told you earlier that my average trade size, because this doesn't, I don't care if you have a $100,000 account, I'm right now trading $1,200 on each trade. Now, maybe you want to do $5,000 on trades, like whatever you want to do, account size doesn't matter when I'm only doing $1,200 per trade. You do whatever you want to do, but based on my math, that's what I'm playing with right now as I get started with this. So that means each winning day is now a $2,500 day. Like I get to pocket $2,500 every time I have a winning day. I like that. I really like that. And so I look at this and I just realized that the risk reward on this is way more in my favor, even if the trade goes to zero, than doing a put credit spread or a call credit spread or any spread, because the most you can get is 100. All right. So I'm ditching that. I'm only doing buying calls and puts. And so, yes, there are some losing trades. I want to be perfectly honest about this with you guys so that you just, we're not trying to, here you go. This is what's happening. You look at this. This was, again, leading up into my last presentation and FOMC and stuff like that. I thought the market was going to pop up a little bit. It didn't. It was running right into resistance. And so, yeah, we bought a call and it went down. I kind of held on to it, see what it did. It came right back up. Of course, it's not going to have the same value. And it just went to smithereens. That's okay. You know what? It went to zero. And we said, no problem. We're just one step closer to a trade that is going to work. And that's okay. We just have to understand the risk, because, again, there was 1,000% trade. Like today, the market moved and there were several strikes that moved over 1,000%. And that will make up for more than a few trades that might possibly go to zero. And so when it comes to these zero DT stuff, you want to make sure you pay yourself when you can. That's another thing that I'm working on these things. And this is how my strategy, I take one entry and I take two exits. So you'll see that I tend to take half off at some appreciable level, and then I'm more comfortable letting the rest play out. That is my strategy. And you can see here, this is how I do it, and this is why I do it. Some people were asking today, I was like, why do you do it that way? I was like, because here was a trade. Let's say, I forget what day this was, the 26th. So we took a long trade. The internals were looking good. It looked like a double bottom. Basically, there's the Moxie price trigger. There's the Moxie price trigger. Took a long trade, and it took a while for this thing to work. And then it started to go up there, and I forget how much this one, 200%. Okay. So it was 200% right up there. I figured, hey, good way to cash some in. It's coming into a double top. It's probably going to run into some resistance. And so we exited at about 200%. Well, thank goodness, because look how quickly price dropped. I mean, it literally went straight down. And of course, based on these kind of options, they just go to smithereens. And so I said, hey, we got to get out. And we got out for break even. So we got in for 3.2. We got out for 3.2 on the second half. And you know what? No harm, no foul. We got out break even. And the first portion of it was for almost 200%. That's why you always want to pay yourself, because you just never know what's going to happen to the market. And even if this thing comes down, at least you paid yourself. At least you captured some of it and took risk off the table and made it so that the trade is essentially free after that point. All right, so this is all today. These were all comments from today. Really great. So the other Brent, again, I was talking about you earlier today. Dang, you just turned my week around with that one. You bought the class. That's great. Love to see you on Saturday. And they've even had the Moxie indicator for a few years. So this is the thing. I've been teaching. I've been doing the Moxie indicator for a long time. I'm getting into options on day trading, and it looks like people are enjoying it. This was another one. I think I was asking him, I was like, they got out at 100%. I was like, hey, why not do like half, sell half and do the other one? And he said, well, I just exited at 100% because I met my profit target for the week, and that trade was so good. That's all I needed. Like, okay, good, great. Happy to hear it. Oh yeah, and then Richard, this was probably the best overall indicator. And then let's see, that trade that I put on was the biggest gain I've ever realized on a trade. So that must have been like one of the 400% winners that we put out there. So yeah, there are some people who are coming into this stuff, and I think this is new to them, and we're having a good time. So yeah, great stuff. And then I look at this, and basically this is all giving me a new thing to do during the day, because originally I was like, I don't want to day trade because trying to watch the charts is kind of annoying, and it's a nail biter. Well, this has completely changed my attitude about day trading. Look, my job was simpler. I'm here all the time. I'm in the chat room. Like, I'm at my desk anyway. I might as well be doing something because I'm an end of day trader. So I'm really not going to be moving money till the end of the day for my swing trades. So what am I doing for the rest of the day that the market is open? I wasn't doing much. And so I started to educate myself on day trading with these things. And then I saw the possibilities, and now I'm absolutely hooked. So I'm super excited about the possibilities and how often this happens that I've decided to really change my schedule. So I am going to be on the mic basically every day. Guys, my screen just changed. Okay, never mind that. Never mind. That looks good. Something's just happened. But so I'm changing my schedule. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm going to be on for the day trading stuff at 9 a.m. Central. And we'll talk about it, kind of see if there's something going on, anything else that we can do. I'm already normally in the market on the mic Tuesdays at 10:30, Thursdays at 12:30 Central, and then Wednesdays at 10:30 I do the social media thing. So I'm on Facebook, X, and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really digging this. And I said, if we're going to get people signing up for day trading, I probably need to be in the room on the mic, also day trading and talking about them live, real time, so that everyone sees what's happening. So this brings me to the point of, hey, you guys want to come join me in the Moxie room? You want to come join me in the class on this Saturday that I'm teaching? Like it's Wednesday, okay? So we got just a few more days until this thing happens. And as I said, as I continue building this class and keep building all of these examples, it is solidifying my interest in this, and it's showing me exactly what I need to know for this kind of stuff. And it's actually helping my trading, because now I'm taking all of those examples and I'm putting them in a rapid fire order so that people can see what's going on. So this is for non-members, okay? So this is non-member pricing. I want to, if anybody out there not new or new to Simpler Trading, these are those prices. And what I want you to see here is for the Moxie Elite. And we've had some people, again, testimonials, so I can't say too much about it, but they've been like saying in just a few days, been paying for these things because of the trades we've been doing. So hopefully that's compliant for whatever I'm saying. But if you do the math and if you break it down and just say, this is the better deal because that much, and you get a quarterly subscription to the Moxie trading room, it comes down to, I think it was $17 a day. I think that seems like a pretty great deal to me as far as $17 a day. And not only do you get all these things, plus the 2 breakout sessions that we're going to do, you're getting the indicator, you're getting other classes that I've taught to kind of get you up to speed, and you're going to get access to me in the trading room, and you're going to be able to do this for a quarter, which is fantastic. I mean, talk about continual learning and all that. And so, again, this was today. Richard Dorr, thank you, man, said, hey, has anyone told you you're a wizard? I think you are one of my, I think you are, and my Moxie Elite is paid off. All right, guys? So we're in this game to trade the market, to make money, and sometimes we got to spend money to make money. We all know that because we put our money at risk every day that we are out there trading the market. Now, for those of you who are members, this is your member pricing if you're a member of Simpler Trading, okay? A little bit better deal. So that probably brings that $17 a day down quite a bit. And again, you get all the good stuff. So I want to make sure you guys really see the better value here. You get all these things plus, again, quarterly. It's going to pay for itself. Like the $17 a day really sounds like a fantastic thing. You got the website down here. And I want to make sure also anybody else, we want to make sure we take care of you. You know, we're here. We want to make sure we all can participate in this stuff. You guys know that I think was it PayPal. It has PayPal credit, 0% interest for 6 months. So if you need some other options and alternatives out there, they got you covered, and we accept that kind of stuff too. So make sure you know about that. It's pretty important. And as far as the package goes, you know, just want to show you guys what's happening on the 12th. So again, right around the corner, we're going to be doing our other breakout session, talking about more of this options charting secrets, because not only are we going to be doing the main class on Saturday, we always got to follow it up, right? Because how often do you learn something? Or how about a board game? You know, you look at the board game and you're like, hey, let's just start playing the board game and then we can learn the rules as we do it. So teaching the class and learning it, great, but you really got to kind of spend some time with it and take time afterward and all that. And so this is where we follow up and actually start putting the rubber to the road. And then the other breakout session, we had to move it. So just, you know, this is on the 20th. And this is going to be talking about the next hot sector formula, which I'm sure you guys are like, what? The market is not doing great. That's okay, because these are the times that we start looking around for those opportunities. I forget who said it, and probably somebody in the comments is going to let me know. But there was a famous stock trader, you know, back in the day that said, if it wasn't for the pullbacks and if it wasn't for the corrections and the bear markets, we would not have the outsized gains that are possible when trading the market. We need these things. Now, just hopefully you're on the right side of the market and can protect yourself when they happen, but we need the market to go down in order for it to go up again. So for now, not a problem. And what we're going to do in this session is go around and show you the ways that I look and start finding that relative strength, looking at the higher time frames, find the sectors, and figure out what might actually bounce back and be a good area, a good spot to be in for whenever the market kind of figures itself out and is ready to go back up. And for those of you who do not have the Moxie indicator or the scanner, if you haven't noticed already, all of my trading goes around the Moxie indicator. Like everything I do revolves around the Moxie indicator. Now, you can be in the room, you don't need the indicator, you can listen to me, but if you guys are going to be doing this on your own, you know, I might someday want to go buy my own island and hang out with my own kangaroos and zebras like John Carter, then you're going to want to know how to do this too. You know, you can hand a person a fish, but it's better to teach them how to fish. So you're going to need the tools in order to figure out how to fish with this. If you guys already have the indicator, just talk to our customer support. They'll hook you up. Make sure you're not going to pay twice for anything, and you're not going to be overpaying for things that you already have. Okay, so just make sure you got that too. And then, yeah, for this, access to instant trade alerts. This is the thing that I'm sure some people are like, hey, I got a day job. How can I do this? How can I day trade? This is the thing. We know, for better or for worse, we know a lot of people who probably, you know, have the Simpler Trading app or on their tablet or something while they're at work. You know, maybe it's better than looking at YouTube when you really should be working, but we have access for you to make sure that you get alerted when I'm doing something in the market. So if you're out there making a smoothie, or if you're out there having coffee or something like that, or typing up a paper, and you hear your phone ding or you hear your iPad ding, and you see that's come from me, and I'm like, hey, trade alert, letting you guys know I'm doing something. Well, maybe you can take a little coffee break or something and go over there and look at making a trade. So we have these alerts for you, and this is part of the room. So you don't need to be present. You just need to make sure you have your alerts turned on, and you have 24/7 access to your members only learning center with everything is recorded. This is recorded. Everything is recorded. Okay. So if you missed the day, if you want to see what happened that day, if you're like, whoa, what's going on in the market? Everything is recorded, and you can come back and see what's happening, and that's part of your membership. All right. So once again, I just want to remind you guys, this is for the non-members. So we got a lot of people out there who, well, honestly, you should become part of a Simpler Trading family. I think it's a great place. I've been with them for years. We're real happy here. So become a member. But yeah, this is the price. Remember, you get the Moxie indicator. You get some classes that I've been teaching to get you up to speed. And then you get a quarterly subscription into the room, $17 a day. And then you come over here, you get even more. And then really, this is the big stuff. You get the follow-up classes so that we can start actually putting the rubber to the road. So again, if you were to learn this just on the Saturday class, well, wouldn't you like to continue watching this in the room? And you can talk to me. I got that chat box. I got all that kind of stuff so that we can say, hey, what's going on? Like today was a really busy day. We had a ton of people in the chat room because we had some of the people, the other subscribers, other traders, taking the things that I have taught them, and they were getting into the market and nailing the 1,000% move that happened today. And we're seeing success. So I love actually being able to see the success from the other traders that were out there coaching and teaching and showing that other people can do this. So again, here's the member pricing if you guys want. And then, yeah, just remember one more time, PayPal, if you guys want to do this, and, 0 interest for 6 months if you need a little help paying for this. Okay. All right. Here is our customer support information. We got a lot of cool people. In fact, we got a lot of people even online answering questions. I see Mirza's typing up a storm, and we always have our moderators in there. And so let me kind of take a look at a few things. Happy to be here for a few more minutes looking through the questions. I'll take a sip of water, wet my whistle. And let me kind of see what you guys are asking about. Have I back tested to see if these profits are available in less volatile markets? Yes, actually they are. But of course, the really cool, fun stuff is going to be during volatile markets. But we also know that in less volatile markets, the market still moves up. These things still move. So, maybe the 2,000 or 3,000% moves are not going to be as frequent, but 400, 500, 600 are still going to be very easy, and it's going to be a nice, easy day. So yes, these things still pay. Trust me. You don't need a ton of volatility in order for these things to work. They still work even before the market went into dive mode. And Doug, these are all out of the money. So everything that I do is going to be out of the money strikes. And I know I get a lot of questions. What strike, what time frame? That is everything I'm going to be talking about in the class, because I can't just explain it here and be like, oh, here's the simple answer. There are about 3 different things that I look at to help me triangulate which strike. It's pretty easy, but I just need to be able to show you guys in a more educational way so that you can actually see why I picked that strike. So it's not that again, with the whole give a person to fish versus teach them how to fish, I can't just say, well, do this. It's like, hey, this is the reason, and I want to I want to show you why it's that reason as far as why I picked those things. And then Raju, can I explain what time frame I look at? And so when it comes to day trading, where I'm going to be taking the trade is going to be on the 2-minute, the 5-minute, and the 15-minute. But in order to even understand where the market is, I always look at the daily and the hourly, maybe even the weekly, because I need to know the overall story of the market and the context so that I know where things might go. Because even FOMC day a couple of weeks ago, I knew that the hourly chart was setting up in a bearish way. And so all I had to do is then figure out where the trigger was on the 2-minute. So I kind of look at everything in order to figure that out. It's like reading a book. And And then what are the indicators? My main indicator is the Moxie indicator. I do have some other ones on there, like you'll notice the squeeze. That's great. And then I do have the slow stochastic. I don't really use it that much, just kind of have it on there from habit, but really it's the Moxie indicator and moving averages. Is the Billy, nice to see you. Is the functionality for the indicator the same on TradingView and also TradeStation? It is on TradingView and it's on stockcharts.com. It is not on TradeStation. I tried to get Moxie on TradeStation back when I was starting this whole thing, and the word they used was what was it? Fatally flawed. I don't know if that is a technical term when it comes to how programmers work, but basically they said that it's never going to run on TradeStation. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I really don't hear anybody else using TradeStation. So it's on TradingView, it's on Thinkorswim, and it's on stockcharts.com. Troy, you're asking what options delta is typically selected for this. That's the thing, man. I don't use any of that. I don't care what delta it is. That's not part of my equation. I'm not looking at it. I don't need to know delta, theta, gamma, vega. I don't need to know any of that stuff. It's really actually pretty simple. And that's what I'm going to be diving into on Saturday so that you guys see this. So again, the class is on Saturday. I'm building it right now. I got so much stuff I'm working on. It's pretty exciting. And it's just, wow. Every time I keep putting this thing through, I'm like, this is looking great. I am so excited to be teaching this class because I have so much material. I'm actually struggling to make sure I get it all in there. And it's not like it's overwhelming. It's not like I'm going to be teaching a ton of stuff. It's that I have a ton of examples. That's the thing that I'm most excited about because there are so many opportunities that I can just show example after example after example. And then you guys can see, oh, that's the setup. That's the setup. That's the setup. All right, let's see. Yeah, so am I buying at the money? No, it's always out of the money. Lavinia, so yes, because I noticed if you go much out of the money, it won't make those returns because how delta is calculated, something I noticed by doing it. I get you, and you do need these things you do need the market to move, okay? There are times where, like this morning, I tried going long and the market just wasn't moving and these things just kind of flittered away and then I got out at 50% loss. That's okay. Sometimes the market's just going to chop and we thought it was going to go, but it doesn't go, and it's fine. Because when it does go and you catch these trades and you look at the things that I'm getting, the 400, the 500, the 1,000% trades, it makes up for the ones of the days that don't work. So they are always going to be out of the money. And then I'll show you guys how I determine that. And then you just need the market to move. It doesn't have to hit the strike. I will tell you that. If you do pick one too far out of the money, yes, it won't work, but that's what we're going to talk about. But you don't need the strike to be hit in order for it to work. And does my strategy work for FX? What I will say about that is the Moxie indicator and its rules and principles generally work for FX, for futures, for pairs, for whatever you want, as long as the indicator can be loaded on that ticker and as long as it works with you. If you can look at the indicator and you can look at whatever you're trying to trade, and if it follows the Moxie rules, then it can be traded. So like recently I've been looking at the Aussie yen because, that's what everybody's talking about, and it works. Put those moving averages on it, use the Moxie indicator, and now I can understand what I'm looking at to figure out what's happening with the Aussie yen. So yeah, absolutely. Todd, yeah, actually I've gotten that question a couple times. So since my profits are always well over 100% and your losses are max 100%, have I ever considered buying calls and puts at the same time? I have had people started to ask me. So my answer right now is no, because I'm just trying to do one thing. But I'm having a lot of people ask me that, and maybe that's another thing that I will consider in time. But right now I'm trying to stay really super focused on just being directional. And if I happen to be wrong, no big deal. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things to think about. I actually had one of my Moxie subscribers ask me that today, and I said, hey, if you're interested and sounds like you're kind of proficient, can you backtest this? Can you start looking into this? He said, absolutely. I'm going to start building a spreadsheet going forward and seeing what this looks like. And who knows, maybe through the help of the community, we're going to find out if this is actually a pretty cool strategy to go with. Maybe. Jason, do we have to adjust the Moxie indicator for swing trading? No. The Moxie indicator is built. It's been built this way for years. We've only added like price triggers and power dots and things like that, but the core Moxie indicator has not changed. And it works the same for swing trading as it does for day trading. You just have to, the Moxie indicator is calibrated for weekly, daily, hourly, the 15-minute, the 5-minute, and the 1 and 2 minute. Those can kind of be interchanged. It will work on other time frames, but I can't guarantee the calibration for it. Yeah, so Viz, can I briefly explain what the Moxie tries to capture? It is a momentum-based indicator. And so if the indicator is below 0, it's negative energy, negative momentum. And if it's above, it's positive. And really what we're trying to do is determine, number one, divergence. So when you see, I wonder if I can actually show you an example. Oh, let's do, here you go. Perfect. So here is the example. Great. Of course, now this is done. Oh, there you go. Okay. So what we're looking for here is, here's the divergence. So you see the double bottom, but you see how there's a higher low in the Moxie indicator? There's your divergence. And then if you, and that's positive divergence. So that's what tells us we want to go long. So momentum, right? Because you're looking at this, if you say, hey, price went all the way back down to its previous low, but momentum has a higher low. What does that tell you? And then if you look here, notice how on this time frame, price kept trying to go up, but notice how the Moxie indicator kept going down. It's telling you that energy and momentum is coming out of the move, even though price keeps going up. And that is a heads up. Because what you'll notice is when the indicator hits 0, you're now out of positive energy and momentum. You're now negative momentum. And what happened? You went down. I mean, look at this thing. This fired before price collapsed. That is absolutely incredible. And I can't make this stuff up, guys. It's right there. And you'll see this on your own charts when you have the indicator too. Doug, yes. Can a small account trade the SPY with the same results? Yes. The SPX I know is a little bit large for some people. That's okay. You can trade either the SPY or you can trade the XSP, which is 1/10 the size of the SPX. And so is the SPY. But the XSP and the SPX, number one, have some tax benefits. And number two, they're cash settled. So, if you want to do this, that might be the better way to go, is to use those two. And the other thing is, since the SPX and the XSP are exactly 1/10 the size of each other, when I put out an alert, say something like, 5440, this is going to, the decimal place just moves. The SPX and the SPY don't have the same number correlation. They're close, but not the same. And so it could just be a little bit extra work for you to line that up. So honestly, I would just recommend the XSP if you want to just do smaller size, which is totally fair, because if you're starting with this, yeah, do smaller size for a smaller account. Let's see. So Ray, on the May 31st, why didn't I take the first signal? Gosh, I'm trying to think why you know what? I can't touch everything. Sometimes I think the markets are going to do one thing and then they go the other way, even though the Moxie price trigger is there. And I think at the time, if I remember, the internals were actually a little bit bullish that morning. And so I didn't know that the market was going to go down as much as it was going to go down. And so I didn't short it because I wasn't sure where it was going to go. And that's why on that May 31st, that's why on the way up, I sold a put credit spread, because I was like, well, it's been a big down day and I'm pretty sure it's going to stop going down here, but I don't know if it's going to go back up. So I was 100% correct on the play and on the entry. And I got a guarantee win. I mean, like, look, I sold a put credit spread, but going forward, I'm learning that I should be willing to risk the premium. Again, for me, $1,200, I should risk the premium and just say, if this happens to go up, it's going to be worth it. Now, if you really want, you could do two things. You could sell a put credit spread, and then if that works, the proceeds from that could then finance and pay for your long call. So you guys can get as fancy as you want with this, but I'm just, through my experience, I'm learning that, man, I really just need to buy long calls and long puts. And even if they don't work out, they eventually will. And those bigger ones will more than offset any of the ones that don't work out. Christine, you already have the Moxie price indicator from a previous training. Do I use the hourly study? Yes, I do. And you have the entire Moxie study, so I want to know of one particular study. No, use the whole thing. And it sounds like if you have the old Moxie indicator, nothing has changed mathematically. It's still the Moxie indicator, but you should get the update because we have streamlined its installation and its interface. It's just easier to use now. And we also included the power dots, and we also included the price triggers on the 2 minute, the 5 minute. So if you own the indicator already, the upgrade is free. I would just recommend it. And let's see, for the second half that I'm letting run, do I use trailing stops to try to get the most you can reasonably get out of the trade? I haven't quite decided that yet. You can if you're either not going to be around or just want to have something do it automatically. I tend to just like to watch the market. That's why when people ask me if I have a target, I was like, I don't always have targets. I got to let the market talk to me, because even today the market moved further than I thought it was going to go. And so, and sometimes with these 0 days, they move a lot. So I wouldn't necessarily know how big of a trailing stop to put in. And I wouldn't want the big movements of the 0 day to take me out when really there was still a bigger move. So most of my decisions are based on the movement of the index, not the movement of the option, or at least the option price. How does this do when the SPY is not as volatile as it has been this summer? Do you do a trade every day, multiple day trades? It still works. Trust me. I mean, look at 4th of July. I showed you one of those examples. The 4th of July wasn't volatile. In fact, it was just bullish. And look at the moves that we've had. This, I know I'm part of what I'm saying here during this presentation is that these things are great during times like this. It's very volatile. It is. But when the market is normal and moving, it still moves. Like, we still have big days, even in a normal bullish market. We still have pullbacks. We still have liquidation breaks. We still have bullish runs. We have short squeezes. We still have all these things. And so it's still a normal market. And yes, this still absolutely works, even in a less volatile market. It just does. Yeah, Matt, show an example when things don't go as planned. Well, this morning I took 2 trades on the long side that didn't work out. I mean, look at today. You can see that the market opened with a move up and the internals were actually bullish. So I went long and it didn't work. I got negative. I lost 60% on one. And then we tried it again and lost 48% on that one. So there were 2 losses. And then there was a trade to the downside that went over 1,000%, right? So even though I had 2 losses, the 1,000% way compensated for the 2 losses. And I did show you one. I mean, look, yeah, we're going to lose. Okay, that's just the nature of the game. But you're not going to win if you don't take shots. We're going to lose some of these things, and some of them are going to go 50%, some of them are going to go negative 100%. That's okay, because I'm showing you that more often than not, there are opportunities here. So, if you're a little jaded and think I'm trying to pull the wool over your eyes, then I'm sorry, but we're here, we're being honest, and we're going to lose some. But the wins far outweigh the losses. I mean, just look at my win-loss ratio. JBL, one of the weaknesses is that the Moxie indicator reprints. It doesn't reprint. What you're looking at is it just hasn't painted. Okay, so if you're noticing that the Moxie indicator reprints, as you say, what it means is that that time frame hadn't finished printing. Okay, one way to look to make sure that it's printed is you have to look at the Moxie indicator make sure that it goes on to the next bar. Let me see if I can explain that here. So each one of these stair steps is one increment. So what you might be noticing is kind of like as the indicator is starting to cross either below or above 0, you're going to start noticing a Moxie price trigger. And what will happen is as it kind of gets here, it'll be moving, because the market's moving, and it'll reprint, as you say, reprint, and then it'll kind of go through, and then it'll finally paint. So what you need to do is you need to wait until the next bar opens. So if you're noticing that the current bar is starting to get through zero, you need to wait for the next bar to populate, and then it's the previous bar that needs to finish painting. Okay, so it's not the Moxie indicator, it's just what you're noticing, and you have to let it paint. All right, I think we're pretty much wrapping up. Let's see, we got 2 more. So is the Moxie indicator different from MACD? Yes, it is, absolutely. So there are some twists and turns in here for the things that I have built the Moxie indicator, and that is the magic. And I don't want to say magic as in like secret sauce or black box, but that is the thing that I have worked on over the years, designing and building this and making it work the way that it works. And all I can say is the proof is just here in these examples. I mean, they really are. That the way that these things line up and the timing ability of the Moxie indicator is absolutely incredible. Okay. So let me, I think we're pretty much all done through here. Yeah. All right, guys. Answered a lot of questions. Happy to be here for you. Come into the Moxie trading room. I'm always here for you. If you got any questions, even hard questions, we're here. We don't dodge anything. And guys, I'm super excited. I would love to see all of you there on the class on Saturday. I'm still building it. Man, there's so much I want to show you. Okay. It's going to blow your mind at the things that I've seen, because it's changed my trading radically. It really has. It's just unbelievable what I've been able to come across, and that's what I want to be able to show you guys. Okay, so let's wrap this up, and you guys have a great night. Thank you to everyone at the Simpler team. I know we got a bunch of people on the back end here helping answering questions, running the tech support, and doing the customer support. So thank you to the team. And for the rest of you guys, I'll see you in the Moxie room tomorrow, and then I'll see you in the class on Saturday. Thanks again.